Gentlemen, Antonio here. Today I'm going to be talking about public speaking mistakes that when you make them, you're giving a presentation and you make these errors, they take away from your credibility, they take away from your message, and they don't allow you to do what it is you want to do when you're getting up in front of 5 people or 500 people, which is to convey the message that you want to get out there so that you can make a change, so that you can get possibly funding for your company, so that you can get an A on that paper, so that you can look great in front of your boss. Whatever it may be, guys, I want you to be able to use the tips today so that you can give a great presentation. So public speaking mistake number 1 is not being prepared. And guys, I'm talking about as simple as actually not preparing your presentation. I've seen this many times. A speaker will come in maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes before. He'll pull out a notepad, start writing about, I'm just writing out my presentation right now. And some people are really good at this. They can actually go up on stage and they can carry it, and they will actually do a decent presentation. But just imagine if they had actually prepared a bit more, if they had gone out there and actually knocked people's socks off. So always, when you've got a presentation, be as prepared as you can be. Now, there are certain things that I think a guy can be prepared for and what you can't be prepared for. The weather, you can't really control that. You can't control whether or not you can get sick. You can't avoid delays, sometimes transportation or there's traffic. But what you can do to prevent that from even being an issue is actually show up early. And I'm not just talking about 15 minutes early or a couple hours early. I know if I'm going to be giving a presentation at a conference, I usually show up the day before. Why? I've even shown up 2 days before. Why? Because it gives me margin. It gives me time to be prepared, to be rested. And yes, I can just work from the hotel, but I don't have to worry about it. I remember at one conference, we literally had about 10% of the speakers who could not get in because of weather conditions in a certain part of the United States. And you know what? That was an opportunity. I got to actually present twice at that conference, get in front of twice as many people because I was there 2 days before. So the things that you can control, how you present yourself, getting sleep the night before. Yes, there are speakers I know who have actually gone out and partied the entire night before. If you can control it, then it is your responsibility to make sure that you actually are prepared there. Mistake number 2, not knowing your audience. Guys, it's as simple as doing a little bit of research, actually maybe speaking with the people and asking who's going to be there. I've actually given presentations to a women's conference and I knew what I was getting into. I knew my audience. And why does that matter? Because a lot of my presentations, they're geared more towards men. Because this was a women's conference, I knew that I was going to have to change things around. I had to make it relevant. The worst thing is when a speaker goes in with a canned speech, and guess what? It doesn't resonate with the audience and people are falling asleep because he may be giving a great presentation, but if it's not relevant, if it doesn't mean anything to the audience, it's not going to affect them. And guys, so know your audience. Mistake number 3, not having clear points. So we live in a time period where people's attention spans have really gone down. Make sure to promise them a few points. You don't need to go overboard on this. I would say in a 30-minute presentation, you could easily boil that down to 5, 4, maybe even just 3 points and really hammer in on those points at the beginning. Don't feel bad about repeating. People, they're oftentimes checking their phones, they're thinking of something else. So you can repeat at the beginning, repeat at the end. But the goal is to have very clear points. So when someone gets up and leaves your presentation, they actually feel like they have something to take away. Mistake number 4, overdependence on visuals. So you've probably heard this before, death by PowerPoint. Do not be the guy that has the PowerPoint slides with 100 words on them and he's looking over his shoulder and he's reading literally the PowerPoint and that is his presentation. Those are some of the worst presentations I've ever had to sit through. Very common. You're going to see them in college campuses, at work. Guys, I would love to hear. I know in the comments you guys are probably going to tell me some stories of some of these horrible presentations you've seen because people, they think that, yeah, if I put together a great set of slides, put together 100 slides, I'm going to be bulletproof. The information is there. Guys, that is not the point of a presentation. A good presentation, the point should be to elicit a hunger within the people watching to learn more. Now, I know some of you guys may be giving a 1 hour, 2 hour, 3-hour presentation. Yes, there are presentations that long. Maybe then you'll get a bit more into the detail. A part 2 to this is to have a backup plan. The best presentation I ever saw, a guy with a backup plan, Pat Flynn, New Media Expo, I think this was 2012, and basically his projector shut down at the beginning of his presentation. And if he had been one of those guys that depended on the visuals, would have doomed his presentation. Instead, Pat said, that's okay. They tried to get it going for about a minute. And he's like, I can do this presentation without it. And he went out there, walked through the crowd that was not dependent on his visuals at all. And in fact, when they finally got the slides up halfway, it didn't matter. We were already invested into his presentation. He already had us captivated, and he was able to finish the presentation. I don't even think he had to use the visuals. The point is, your presentation should be able to stand on its own. Mistake number 5, not getting honest feedback. So one of the things I do is I go back and I watch my videos, and I can tell you guys, I know I speak sometimes or I talk too long. I know that I use crutch words. These are things I'm trying to do to get better. But if you're going to be giving a presentation, the least you can do is record yourself and watch and critique yourself and say, I can do that better. I can maybe use less hand movements, which as you guys know, I love to use hand movements. But if you can, maybe bring in one of your peers. Have them watch you give the presentation, your actual practice presentation. Have them time it. These are things that were within your control. And if you actually give presentations for a living, if you're looking to get paid for your presentations, if this is a very important presentation, perhaps it's worth you hiring a coach, bringing in a professional that can identify just a few things that when you improve them, they're going to have a monumental effect on the way that you convey your message. Guys, that is it. I would love for you to go check out the support article. In this support article, guess what? I'm going to have a couple bonus points. And if you want more, guys, over at Real Men Real Style, I've got tons of presentation information, also information about style, because dressing sharp is important for a presentation. And last but not least, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments. Mistakes I missed, presentation errors that you see out there that people are making and they need to stop. I love hearing your guys' stories. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.